Alright guys, so you can see that semi right there. They just dropped off our first ever ARS rack systems. So we're going to show you guys a little bit of the putting together process. Do a little time lapse on building it, stuff like that. But they actually came double stacked. I got 2 of them. We'll go over all of that, but I just wanted to show you guys what they look like when they come in. One thing that ARS tells you to do is to make sure you check the whole thing on the package on the outside before signing for it. Because if there's any damage, they tell you just to return it right away and they'll get you some new stuff. But this came in absolutely perfect, no dents, anything like that. So let's start getting it together. Alright guys, so we've got it set out. So you guys can see all the pieces and parts. It comes with quite a ton. This is the only thing it didn't come with. I purchased that separately. You can buy them from them, but I already had one laying around. So you get quite a few boxes. These are the heating elements, tons of pieces of metal, plastic, and all the bins we've got sitting out in the other room right now. What I'm going to do is start putting it together piece by piece. If I figure out any tips or tricks, I'm going to let you guys know. This is the first time I'm ever setting one of these up, so I want to see how long it takes me and also give you guys some tips and tricks along the way. Alright guys, so just finished up the base. Between counting everything, figuring out, you know, the instructions, which it's actually just a QR code and it pulls up their website. There it is. I find the instructions are a little bit vague, especially when it comes to the holes and stuff like that, but it's not impossible. There is definitely a learning curve to it, but it's been about an hour. We got the base, we got everything counted, and we're about to start setting up the actual levels. Okay guys, so it's been almost another 2 hours, and I did stop to eat during that, but so we've got the first level completely finished, and we're moving on to the next level. So the instructions are okay, but they're a little bit vague, so this is basically the easiest way we have found. So down here is the first level, and that's where they slide into. You've got the panels with the air hole ventilation. It tells you they gotta be basically the way that they are, and then these pieces of plastic end up just floating there until you put this front bar in. But each of those are their separate bays. Right now I have to go grab some more of these, slide them in, which are actually what are in those boxes right there, and then we put the front bar across, screw them in. Find it's a lot easier. All the parts over there have to basically be assembled. They're not pre-assembled, so one person doing that, one person putting it together, we found to be the easiest so far. But I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's finished. Hey guys, so we started this around 12:31 and it is now 6:30. It took quite a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but we've also filled everything with bedding. It's up and running. We still are going to let it run for a couple of days before switching any of the animals. This is what it looks like. We ended up not finishing the top level just because it's going to be so tight anyway and I won't need it while we're in this house. But I was able to get the labels on and made. My only thing at all I don't really like about it is, for whatever reason, this one middle level, it's one or the other, it's one of these, it's this one, this middle level is super tight when it comes to the heat tape, but hopefully, or not heat tape, but the heating element. So hopefully that's not a problem in the future, but about 6.5 hours later, and we've got it all set up. But I'm super happy with it. I think it's going to be awesome. I've already tested the heat. They do recommend when using, for example, a vivarium like I have, a VE200, so there's 2 probes. We've only got one with 1 probe, but we've got 2 probe ones coming in. But so far they actually have been holding temperature pretty perfectly throughout the whole rack. But we've got, this is the 5540, I believe is what it's called. It holds bins that are made for grow out females or male ball pythons. So it's about 32 inches deep, and they're only like 14 inches wide or something like that. Here, I'll double check. So we got them, let's see, the tubs themselves, they're 11 wide and then they're 32 inches deep. So they're made more like a grow out. I've heard a lot of breeders say this is their favorite rack system. And since these are ARS hybrids, what anyone could do is, so the ones that are gonna, so the rack I'm gonna build tomorrow is the 70. It's a 70, so it's made for adult females. It's exactly the same as this, except instead of having 4 in a row, there's 3 bins in a row because they're so much larger. So basically, these are equivalent to like what I was using before. These are pretty much equivalent to the 28 quart. And the one I'm setting up tomorrow is going to be equivalent to the 41 quart racks for Sterlite. And hopefully it performs really well over the next few days and we can start switching animals over. But really happy with it. The packaging came in awesome. It said 2 to 4 weeks because these are one of their hybrid rack systems. And I think it's only been a week since I ordered it. Shipping ended up only being 2 days. Something crazy like that, so a lot sooner than we expected, but again, so far super happy with it. If you guys are wondering where I got it, I'll put a link below. They're called ARS Racks, but super happy to finally have one. It's been my dream. Wish we could still make the PVC, but the price of actually getting the PVC ended up being more than just buying one of these guys. Hey guys, so we are now on the second day of putting these together, and let me just tell you, it is a lot easier once you kind of understand the concept and what's going on. This one maybe took 2 hours, but that's just because of how many things have to actually get screwed together. So this one is a larger, the 70 series, the one in the back is the 55. We just have it right here so we can test out the heating elements, and I figured I'd show you guys a couple things. So when putting these together, the front and back bars are slightly different and the screw holes are offset. Hold on, that's my light. So when putting it together on so far both racks we've done, the screws have to be towards the top because you end up putting in these little pieces of plastic that like stop the snake from getting out. So you have to have it towards the top or else it throws off the dimension here to put in and out, which isn't really specifically said in the instructions. It kind of shows it, but they're very basic pictures with not much description. And another thing I realized is, so you know where your probe is, that's where I'm going to be putting my probe. And if I can slide this out of the way a little, I did it on this other one also, so you can always find it. And I went ahead and labeled these guys above the tubs, so that way if you have to, you know, change out the tubs. But so far, the temperatures have been holding really well. It's the first time I'll be checking this guy. But $94, $95. So this one's actually running pretty hot compared to all the other ones. But bedding will be over top. Let's see. And instead of having its own thermostat, this is running on the other one just so I could make sure everything was turning on. 93 and 92, which is to be expected. It's gonna have a little bit of variance. So what I'm gonna do now is the hard challenging thing of, now we have to take all these guys, get them in here, get rid of all these so we have some space, and then I'll show you guys the finished result. Alright guys, and this is it all finished up. Again, these are the smaller ones, and as you can tell, these ones are a bit wider. These ones are for bigger females, but everyone's in their racks. Everyone's settling in. I'm not going to bother anyone. But this one overall was a lot easier, a lot smoother. It was much quicker to do. It did have more things to screw together just because it had more of these stoppers. They have them in the front and the back, but all in all, super happy. I'm not really sure how easy it'll be to take apart and move, which is part of the reason why I got these, just so it'll be easier one day when hopefully we get a bigger house so I have a bigger facility, but not bad at all. This first one was kind of bad, honestly. I'm trying to figure it all out with the basic instructions. Now that I know more about it, it's not as bad, but alright guys, and that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We do new videos every Wednesday, and I'll see you next Wednesday.